I decided a few years ago to do an experiment, and this was not original with me. I got it from someone who did it with strawberries, and the person who did it with strawberries, it wasn't original with them either. They'd gotten it from a book about some research in this area. But anyway, I decided I loved the illustration so much, I was going to try it myself. So I got a dozen roses for my beautiful, wonderful wife, Hope, and because I wanted to do this experiment. So I gave her 10 of them, all right? And then I took the two that were the most alike, and they're not identical, but they're close. And the same, grown by the same grower, cut on the same day, not identical, but close. All right, next slide. So I cut them off just below the stem, put them in a glass of clean, filtered water. Then I took one of the roses, the glass with the rose in it, in my hand, and for 60 seconds, I thought about the most painful, worst memory of my life, and really tried to just relive it all over again, just immerse myself back in that pain from that memory. And I did that for 60 seconds, and then I put it down and I never touched it again. Took the other glass with the other rose, held it in my hand, thought about the most wonderful, happy, loving memory of my life, relived it again, felt those wonderful feelings for 60 seconds, put it down, never touched it again. Next slide, please. You can't see it at the bottom, but it says 49 hours later. It was supposed to be 48, and I missed it by an hour. So 49 hours later, negative memory on the right, positive on the left. You see that there's already starting to be a big difference. Next slide, please. And this one says 7 days. The first time I showed this to a public group, someone yelled out from the audience, "The one on the left looks like it has cancer." And I thought that was very profound. I'd never seen a rose like that. You can see it's slimy and sticky. I don't even know what that is. There's big black blotches all over it that do give it sort of a cancer look. The rose on the right looked better than any of the 10 roses that I gave to Hope that she had put plant food in. So the one on the right here, no plant food, but looks better than the other 10 that did have plant food, okay? Next slide, please. To me, this is kind of the conclusion of what I'm trying to get across. The Grant study is the largest, in my opinion, most well-done study ever on the human condition. It was done at Harvard over 75 years, cost over $20 million, one of the longest, most expensive studies ever done. Their conclusion by Dr. Grant, who was the caretaker of the study, was this: happiness equals love, full stop. What does full stop mean? Period. End of discussion. Nothing else needs to be said. Happiness equals love. You don't have love, you're not going to be happy. You have love, you're going to be happy. You don't have love, you're going to be at much higher risk for illness and disease. You have love, maybe not so much. Slide, please. 2016, Scientific American released an article about a study entitled "What Experts Wish You Knew About Your Memories." And this is related to the study where they found the electrical spike and that was mandated by the unconscious mind. But this is the one where they found that approximately 50% of all your memories and what you believe about your life from your memories is in error. So why am I bringing this up again? Well, because something with this study happened that I've never seen before. After the study was concluded and they knew they had a major breakthrough, the scientists had a serious discussion among themselves about maybe they should never release this research, that they should bury it forever. Now, if you know anything about scientific researchers, they would never consider that. I mean, that's their Super Bowl. That's how they get raises. That's how they get written up in journals. That's how they get promotions and you know, all that, awards and stuff. So why were they thinking about that with this one? They were afraid that if people knew the truth, that they're about 50% of what they believe about themselves is not true, and that 1 second before a significant decision, that choice is mandated to them. They were afraid that if people understood that, the suicide rate would spike, that people would become hopeless, feeling like their life was just a puppet on a string type of thing. I'm very glad they decided to release the research because we have a right to know about it as members of the human race. Okay. I'm going to stop there. We have a good bit more that we could have covered, but we lost some time because of my internet problems here, which I apologize for. It's never happened before, but it did as soon as I got on this call. I don't know what that means. But let me stop here, and if we have any questions, and let me just end with three things that after doing all this, all these years, I believe these things stronger than I ever have before. Okay? Number one, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Now, we may have to have a further conversation, or you read a little bit more into some of my books to completely understand that. But I've never had a situation, even when someone was skeptical, that I couldn't convince the person that this is true based on science. But it's not your fault. Number two, the solution is not trying harder. And number three, unless you're on your deathbed right now, and we've had a number of those happen too, but unless you're on your deathbed right now, I absolutely believe you can get to where you want to get. You can get to your best possible life or close to it, no matter where you are now, as long as you're not on your deathbed with just hours to live. And as I said, we've had some of those, but and do that by healing the issues of your heart, by finding and healing those memories that are resonating that fear signal, causing the hypothalamus to turn on the stress response. And then when the stress response is turned on, your immune system is the very first thing that's turned off or down. Why? Because it utilizes more energy than anything else in the body. And if your fight or flight is activated, it's supposed to be because you're in imminent mortal danger in the next 5 minutes. And so you need to fight harder, run faster, etc. So your body and mind take blood flow and energy away from digestion, from your immune system, from creative intelligence and things like that, just to your large muscle groups and animalistic brain. And that's supposed to happen once or twice a year for 15 minutes, and then we go right back to physiological peace. The research today says it's happening to most people 8 to 10 times a day or more were living there. And that, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, is the source of illness and disease and can be the source of healing and happiness.